folks. Welcome to an all-new So Bad It's Good. This is your Friday afternoon episode, hopefully, or Friday night, or Saturday, or Sunday, whenever you listen to this. This is going to be a Summer House recap, but of course, we're always going to take weird left turns and detours and talk about a bunch of different things, so just buckle in. Also, I want to point out that there are timestamps on this, so if you want to skip right to that Summer House recap, there will be a timestamp. Somebody left a very nice comment on Spotify the other day of like, I don't want to listen to you and your personal stories. I totally get that. That's why there's a timestamp. The timestamps are your friends. And I've been doing this show for over 5 years, and it's always been a mix of personal, pop culture, just kind of whatever is going on in the craziness of my head. And I am so excited that you're here for that, for part of it, for all of it, whatever piece of it you're here for. I'm appreciative of that. How are you guys, by the way? Sorry, I didn't. I'll explain. And by the way, this is a personal thing, so you might want to skip past this. But yesterday, sorry, I didn't get the Summer House recap out last night. And there is a reason why. Sorry, I had to pause. I'm trying to schedule Crystal Minkoff and Cynthia Bailey from the Humble Brag podcast, but we know them from by the way, is there a harder working woman in showbiz right now than Cynthia Bailey? She's on Atlanta. She's on that Got to Get Out on Hulu. I mean, she pops up and she's going to be on an episode of Love Hotel, which the second episode airs this Sunday night. And I thought the first episode was really charming. Anyways, I'm trying to schedule, and Crystal seems to be the organized one of the group. So I believe the ladies from Humble Brag will be on this show very soon. But yesterday, listen, sometimes you got to enjoy life. Sometimes you got to, you know what? I went over to do Doug Buden's Cook and Kibitz, and Doug is part of the Jeff Lewis universe. And Brittany Haynes was in town from The Traders. And so he does this live cooking show on his Instagram every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I've always had a blast when I'm on. And just Doug is one of the funner people that I've met in this last couple of years. And I'm so happy to be, to have him as a friend. But it was actually really fun. And then we stayed after and had Chinese food, and Jeff and Shane and Shane's boyfriend came over, which is all people that work on Jeff. And it was really fun. And then I got home at like 8:30, which isn't late, but I had a couple glasses of wine, and then the Beyonce concert was calling to me on TikTok. So I had to watch the Beyonce. I watched it on Monday when it actually went live for the first time. And then I got sucked into watching really crappy streams on TikTok of the Beyonce concert. And she switched up the set list. She had some technical difficulties, but still legendary. And then sometimes it's like, and this is very unprofessional of me, but sometimes you're like, I don't feel like talking about Summer House right now. I feel like going to bed and not talking about Summer House. So we are here talking about Summer House today. Now, if you feel a dark force in the universe today, it's because the Valley reunion is being filmed today. Andy Cohen posted his little tease on his Instagram stories with the Valley reunion. This is the first reunion they got because they did not do a reunion for season 1. I don't think they planned on it being a hit in the way that it was a hit. So they were kind of woefully unprepared. So they are finally getting their reunion. And yes, they are, like we talked about earlier this week, they are shooting this way earlier than usual. Usually you'll get the reunion filmed about 4 episodes before the end of the season, but they're having to do this because Doute and Nia are both going to give birth in the next couple of months, so they need to get ahead of this. My worry, I'm so happy that everybody's going to be involved in this reunion, but my worry is they gave the cast the rest of the season of episodes to watch, and I believe it's a 15-episode season. We're only 3 episodes into this season. Do I really think Jax is going to sit there and watch 12 episodes of himself? He famously always says, I never watched Vanderpump Rules. I never watched. And I don't know if that was a lie or not, but do we really entrust him to watch all of the episodes? Like Kyle Richards, remember she said at the Beverly Hills reunion that she didn't watch the entire season? And I think that's a dangerous thing. It can be good and it can be bad. It can be good in the sense that they might get hit with things that they're not prepared for so that you get more of a realistic, honest answer. And they might not know how to speak about certain questions if they are not prepared for what's in the actual show. That's a good thing, but a bad, I don't know. I'm going to be interested to see what comes out about the reunion what gets leaked, what happens. I mean, because Jax is Jaxing, and Brittany has spoke out very much against Jax. Or you know what? She's been asked direct questions that she's answered. She is a part of this show, whether people like that or not, and she's out there doing press for this show, and you're going to be asked about this. And I don't know, like Jax is able to say whatever he wants to say about anybody, but when Brittany or another female does it, it's all of a sudden you get these like negative comments of like, stop talking about your son's father. Are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? I don't understand our society sometimes in how we view women in the society. Like, women are always supposed to be the ones that clean up the messes, and they're supposed to be quiet and demure and very like do everything right. And it's like, dude. And by the way, if you choose to be on a reality show, I already don't trust you. Like, I mean, that goes across the board, male, female, non-binary, anybody. If you choose to be on a reality show, you're already suspect. And by the way, I'll go even a step further. If you choose to do a podcast about reality shows, you're suspect. I'm suspect. You're a suspect. We're all suspect. So I don't look, it's very different than when I started this show, where I think I thought reality stars in some ways were aspirational. And that is so far out the window with me now. Like, you just realize how it takes a lot to decide to be a reality star and to decide to monetize your life. But it's not even just monetizing your life, it's monetizing your insane behavior. You know, and I think if you monetize your insane behavior, you then almost give yourself an excuse to never grow up. You know, a lot of us normies will do some fucked up thing and then we have to deal with it. But then we deal with it. We actually go to therapy, or we do like things to try to work on that. But in reality shows, you're almost rewarded for this bad behavior. So you're always going to probably lean into that bad behavior and then wonder why parts of you are just feel miserable all the time. I'm speculating, but that's what you know what I'm saying? And what is also the deal with, so the Valley and Summer House, they're on Valley on Tuesday, Summer House on Wednesday. To me, Summer House is so damn light and breezy. Yes, you have Jesse and Lexi, but to me, it's fun. I actually LOL, I literally laugh out loud. And I think I might be in the minority because I know a lot of people that I talk to don't really like Summer House. But for me, the Valley has like real life implications. And they also have all these kids running around that really scare the shit out of me. And then you go to the Valley or you go to Summer House and you're like, well, at least they don't have kids, right? At least they don't have kids. Yeah. Enjoy those lover boys. Like, yeah, pound the lover boys, get a huge hangover. At least you don't have kids yet. And so therefore I find it way more enjoyable. Yes, it's easy to make fun of Jesse. It's easy to make fun of Wes. It's easy to make fun, but it's like at the end of the day, it just feels like you're wearing like a proverbial seatbelt. You know, like on the Valley, it's like nobody's wearing seatbelts and they're all crash test dummies. Oh, and, so the Valley, I shot that thing with Bravo like last month called the Valley Van, and they took a bunch of like podcasters and influencers and stuff like that and threw them in a van with cast members of the Valley. They didn't tell us who we were paired up with until like I think a couple days before, and I was paired up with Jax, Jesse, and Tom Schwartz. So I was shitting bricks going, I mean, can you imagine? I was shooting bricks. I was like, no, are you kidding me? Like, I was hoping for like Scheana or Brittany or, you know, somebody that wouldn't potentially kill me because of things that I've said in the past. And I wound up with them. It was fine. It was actually good. You know, I've talked about it before on here. The day of shooting was fine. It was before this season of The Valley came out, and Jax in the car said, the second episode's brutal. It's like the worst one. And I was like, it couldn't be worse than the first episode, because the first episode was pretty bad. And it turned out the second episode was worse, but I had not seen that at that point. There was so much stuff. Like, they just made like a minute little thing out of it. It's posted on my Instagram and Bravo's Instagram. They released it yesterday. And this just, I'm not made for this business in certain ways, because I knew it was going to be released around 2 p.m. My stomach was in knots. I was worried because I was just worried about like hate comments and things like that. And, you know, just the comments it would and by the way, just to remind people, Jax blocked me again like a week and a half ago, but then he unblocked me, I think, due to his publicist, Lori. Shout out to Lori. But I was like, you don't have to unblock me. You can leave me blocked. And then it got released, and Jax DM'd me yesterday saying that was a really fun day that day. And I said it was, because it was. And I said, hope you're hanging in there. And I do hope he's hanging in there. I hope he is actually figuring out what the heck is going on with him and really committing to change this time. And really just not ever saying work in progress again, but just constantly working towards progress without saying it at all. Now, a couple of listeners pointed out, and somebody DM'd me, in the mind of Jax Taylor was going on a podcast tour, and it looks like they canceled a bunch of dates. And somebody even sent me the email, like it was like canceled in the middle of the night. So I don't know if that was just low ticket sales, if something else is up. I do not know. Now, there was also a rumor going around this week that Jax Taylor got fired from the Valley. I do not believe that to be the case at all. I think, no. I mean, listen, I'm sure he is on some sort of thin ice. And even in the first 6 minutes of the Valley next episode, which they've already released the first 6 minutes, Brittany has a scene where Jax is in that mental health facility, and supposedly he's in 7 hours of therapy a day, and he gets like a 15-minute break. And on that 15-minute break, he was rage texting Brittany, and they have all these bubbles up of what Jax said. And I'm like, oh, dude, these mental health facilities or whatever, like, you got to be really careful with phone use. It's kind of like Paige DeSorbo. You got to be real careful giving Paige a phone in the summer house. Like that's a weapon of mass destruction potentially. And if you are in there to work on yourself, like there is something so darkly comic about the fact that he is working on himself and then gets a break and he just starts rage texting and spiraling all over Brittany. And Brittany's out there trying to live her life, and it becomes a sickness, right? It becomes something that you really truly have to figure out. And I don't think that's up for the audience to figure out for him. I mean, I think we all kind of like, hey, you could do this, you could do that. And you're like, just do the work. And then don't act like you're an expert on mental health until like years down the road, until you have like 2 years of like really kicking ass and meeting goals. But we always talk about that. Like, the things that are good for us, the things that are right for us, they feel so uncomfortable to us. You have to get used to feeling uncomfortable, and we are creatures of habit and comfort, and we do not like to feel uncomfortable. And unfortunately, any sort of growth, you have to feel massively uncomfortable. It feels so foreign to you. And that's just not something that anybody wants to feel. So that's why a lot of us don't ever grow or don't ever get it right. Because we just can't handle feeling that way, because it's so much easier to not feel that way, to do the bad thing. Those are just my two thoughts. I'm going to just chug some caffeine. Okay, I've had a couple hour break in between what I just recorded and now. And in that interim, I did Samantha Bush, you might know her as @BravoHistorian. I did her Patreon podcast, Chronically Online. We got to talk about everything, including some recent The Valley developments, which we're going to talk about right now. But go check out that. I loved having a conversation with Sam. It was a blast. I think we did like an hour and a half. Super fun. In the meantime, though, or like in the last couple of hours, they have released The Valley, which is having their reunion today. They announced the seating chart for The Valley. I love that we dissect even seating charts. And this is the seating chart at The Valley. You got Andy Cohen in the middle, you got Jax Taylor on the right, and you got Brittany Cartwright on the left. Okay, so that makes sense. Those are like the mano y mano, the big crux of the season is probably around Jax and Brittany. And then it gets really surprising, because right now next to Jax is Jesse Lally. Right next to Jesse Lally is Janet, and then Jason Caperna. And Jasmine is right next to Jason, and Zach is right next to Jasmine. The other side has Brittany, and then Kristen Doute, then Luke, then Nia Sanchez, then Danielle, and it ends with Michelle. I am so confused. I would figure they would put Michelle like right next. I guess these seating charts are getting more tricky and complicated, because I guess you can't split up Kristen and Luke because they're a couple, and Danny and Nia, but Michelle should be nearer Jesse. Like putting Michelle on the end, even if you don't like Michelle, she is part of obviously the Jesse Lally drama, and she just got told that she hooks up with a billionaire for $1,500 a night. Are you kidding me? She needs better placement in this. That's ridiculous. Also, In Jax Taylor news, this dude just cannot help himself to save his life. We had a new Jax development in the last couple of hours, and Jax does a podcast called In the Mind of Jax Taylor. It used to be called In the Mind of a Man, but now In the Mind of Jax Taylor, which I'm happy with. Let's use him as a singular brain. But this is a clip. He was talking to Tom Sandoval. Now, I saw this on Vanderpump Recaps online. Huge shout out to them. Love their account. And they have a podcast called Recap Rodeo you should check out. Here is the audio of Jax talking about an apology he gave to Tom Sandoval.
Tom Sandoval, probably about 4 months ago, I called Tom Sandoval and I said, "Hey man, I just want to say I'm sorry." And he's like, "What are you sorry for?" He's like, "I want to say sorry because I never really truly apologized to you over the Kristen situation that I did years ago when I had relations with Kristen while you were kind of on and off again with her. And, until this happened to me, I didn't really realize how bad that this hurts."
Okay. So that's like, you're like, oh, okay. So Jax is potentially learning and he's making amends to people that he feels he has done wrong through the years. And of course, he is talking about the infamous Drive night when Doute watched the movie Drive with Jax when Sandoval and her were living together. Sandoval was, I still don't understand how Sandoval went and passed out and then was like, "Yeah, you guys go ahead and watch the movie without me." But then they hooked up, remember? So you're like, okay, that's kind of nice. Like, we all grow up, we change. Now, the kicker to this story is Tom Sandoval wrote in the comment, says, "Come on, man, don't do this. You know we didn't speak on the phone. You just sent me a text apologizing for the first time 2 days before this podcast dropped. I haven't even had a chance to respond, but it seems like you just said that on your podcast, then texted me after the fact. It definitely doesn't feel genuine now, ... Sandoval has every right to be mad. Oh my God, Jax, why are you lying about stupid shit? Why are you, and by the way, if you, like, who are you trying to impress? I guess us, but like, dude, just then apologize. If that comes into your head, go, you know what? You know who I do owe an apology to? Tom Sandoval. And text him right there on the spot. You say, "Hey, I'm on the podcast. I'm thinking about some things." But performatively, that is, even Sandoval is picking up on this bullshit. Dude, do not get yourself in deeper trouble. Just do the work. This is what Jax. Oh, God. Why continue to do this shit over and over again? What are we doing with our lives, folks? Anyways, let's go to brighter waters with Summer House. What a great transition. Summer House is a season 9, episode 12, and this is called Pillow Fight. Because remember, the bed bugs threw their first annual party where it was bed themed because the bed bugs love to stay in beds. Paige, Ciara, Amanda. So they're fully leaning into this theme, and we left off last week at this party, and Lexi finally had a conversation with Jesse of like, "What the fuck are you doing? You're throwing me under the bus to your friends. It's not adding up. You're telling your friends one thing and me another." Now, the description the cable company gives us for this says, Carl confesses his crush on a housemate. Thanks for not spoiling for it. It's Ciara. Confesses his crush on a housemate. Lexi and Jesse's confrontation leads to fallout. Shouldn't it be leads to a fallout? Leads to fallout. Leads to fallout. I'm assuming, come on, guys. Don't make mistakes like that. That's crazy. So we start off, as we always do, with scenes from previous episodes. And remember, Tom Schwartz is there. And Schwartz, you can just tell he is so happy to be away from Jax and Sandoval and all of the problems of Los Angeles. Schwartz and Sandy's is closed, but he's there at Summer House. He's collecting a paycheck. I got to tell you, I kind of got used to seeing him on the second episode. I kind of liked it. Ciara and Jesse have been flirting throughout the season. I mean, Jesse's been flirting with anything that has boobs. Carl met a girl and had sex, he told Ciara last weekend. So Carl got back out there. This is the first time he's had sex, allegedly, since the breakup with Lindsay. We also had a storyline last week where Kyle is worried about his fertility journey. Kyle's like, "What if my boys don't work, dude?" And he was having this conversation with Schwartz, which led, to Schwartz and Katie when they were trying to go through their fertility journey. Maybe Kyle's nuts are too close to the DJ equipment. Have we ever given any thought to that. Maybe he needs to get the heat away. His DJ equipment seems like it could hit potentially certain aspects of it at nut level. So you've got to be careful of that. But I love that Kyle is concerned of like, oh man, what if my boys don't work? It's not of like, hey man, maybe I shouldn't be hanging out till 4 a.m. on the weekends. It's not that. It's like, it would just suck if I'm impotent, if I'm infertile. Also, I do want to say, and you might know where I'm going with this already. Anybody that works at the lab that Kyle mailed this fertility test back to, I know this probably breaks a lot of laws, but if you're willing to part with that fertility test, I think it would make an excellent exhibit at my reality show museum. You know, if I could get Kyle's fertility test, you put that behind glass. I think families could come enjoy it. I think it would be just such a good little addition to the reality show museum. We also, like I said, had Lexi confronting Jesse at the bedbug party. And Jesse's like, oh, it makes me resent my friends. It makes me resent my friends. And she's like, doofus, this is you. This is not your friends. Are you out of your mind? And you could tell, you would watch in real time Lexi getting the ick of this dude of like, I let you be inside of me and you're a complete doofus. And Paige is telling Lexi, going like, listen, like you guys have a lot of tension. You are early in on this relationship. You need to just walk away. So we open there, and it's Saturday, 9:09 p.m. That's important. I mean, it's not important, but it's important because I just like it. I like when they give us a specific time, that it's like an uneven number. You know, it's like not 9 p.m., it's 9:09 p.m. And to me, I'm like, wow, they're really letting us in. This is 9:09 p.m. And Lexi thanks the girls for having her back, which was nice to see the girls. Like, I love that we live in a world where, you know, it's darker than this, but I do love that the women of Summer House like kind of laugh off how idiotic men are at times. They're like, men, idiots, right? And there's so much validity to that thought. But I love that they can kind of laugh it off. And, you know, I think there is this element of truth to that with any show on Bravo and in life in general is just, men, we are always going to make the stupidest choices. We're going to make mistakes throughout our lives. And then women will have to pick up the pieces or have to be more understanding. So I love that the girls had Lexi's back in this moment. And Paige says, dude, even though we've known Jesse longer, he's a guy, so we'll kill him. He's dead to me. Yeah, Paige, I love it. That's what we need. Paige, like once she's over the Craig stuff, I mean, she's already over it, but like next season, if she comes back, I think it's going to be great because Paige will be in that position where she can just have fun and she can talk shit about other people and kind of like point out everybody's inconsistencies in the house. And I think that's where Paige shines. I think when she's got the hot potato and she's having to talk about her relationship with Craig, that's an uncomfortable spot for Paige. And she's not amazing at it because she would rather be commenting on other people's relationships. And that's why I think she's so relatable. A lot of us are like that. We would rather comment on other people. I'm doing it right now on the podcast. Anyways, West is making Kyle, who is dressed up as a sloth, he's making him do a shot off the ice luge. They have an ice luge. They're grown-ups. A reminder that Wes Wilson is dressed up like the grandpa from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. He has a little nighttime old man outfit on, which actually is pretty fun. I got to tell you, like, this is where I'm so simple-minded. I kind of like that they're all, like, I love that they get dressed up every weekend. I know some people get tired of it, but I'm like, oh, yeah, sloth. Amazing. Oh, hell yeah. Kyle's a sloth. That's so fun. Lindsay's like dressed up as a teddy bear. I nerd out about that shit. Anyways, also, did you notice this episode was littered with cans that said Turbo on them? And then I realized that must be a new product from Loverboy. So let's find out together if there is any validity to that. Turbo Loverboy. Here we go. Oh my God. I looked up Turbo Loverboy, and you know how Google has like people also ask? These are the questions that people also ask. Why is Loverboy so expensive? Does Kyle Cooke own Loverboy? How much money did Loverboy make? Who owns Loverboy alcohol? I'm not seeing any Turbo Loverboy, but I know it did say Loverboy on it. So that must be a new product that is not yet available. Oh, no. Here it is. Guys, I take it back. I'm going on the website. It's called Turbo Half and Half. It's 8% alcohol. It's an iced tea and lemonade. 8%. That's pretty intense, isn't it? This is a new take on our teas available in select markets, gluten-free and caffeine-free. Caffeine-free? What? Okay, you lost me. I thought this was like a energy drink slash, but it's just an 8%, so it just gets you really fucked up. It's non-carbonated hard tea. Okay, I see you. Total fat, 0 grams. We're in business, baby. So that's what I noticed all over. They were all having these turbo cans. And my theory is that half those people don't even drink Loverboy, but Kyle makes them put the cans in their hands if the camera's on them. Kyle's like, whoa, wait, grab this turbo. Grab it. We cut to Lindsay's in the kitchen and she's kind of doing a spanking dance. Gabby's like on one, like outside the door outside looking at Lindsay, and Lindsay's doing a sexy dance where she's slapping a fake ass and Gabby's kind of dancing. Like, this is just Summer House is just vibes, you guys. Vibes. We then cut to Carl and Ciara talking, and Carl is awkwardly talking to her under these like stringed lights in the yard, and he's like, any guys for you here? And she's like, I never kiss and tell. And he goes, I feel like I did kiss and tell. I said too much. I did text the guys because he's talking about him having sex and talking about it with Ciara. And he's just admitting to having a boys chat. Guys night. A boys chat, which, you know, this week on The Valley, they talk about their boys chat, which is like 20 people long. And I got really scared when realizing that the Summer House boys have a boys chat as well. We got to shut that down. We got to shut it down. Anyways, their generator goes out and they move to sitting on this ledge area. And Ciara says, are you guys going to start dating this girl that you slept with, or are you just having fun? And Carl's like, well, I feel like we're kind of friends. And then he goes, this is dark, guys. He goes, I can tell I didn't perform at my optimal level. Now let's do the positive first. Carl, we're so proud of you for sharing that with us. And it's just like your tan line porn obsession that you talked about last week. So proud of these details. I really encourage all of the sharing. Now, the negative of this is you didn't have to share this. And especially if you're about to tell Ciara that you kind of have a crush on her, you don't want to lead with, my dick ain't working that well. Like, you don't, it's not our business, right? Let's Ciara find out the hard way. You know, I'm just like, but I was like, dude. And that's why I really say, you know, I'm always team Lindsay, but I do really appreciate Carl's effort. Like, you know, we talked about Jax Taylor, this guy that is seemingly performatively trying to rehab himself, where Carl, I feel like, is doing the hard work, but you also get the sense that Carl is just starting from zero. Like, he is literally doesn't know who he is yet. Like, he knows elements of who he is, but he's having to relearn everything. And that's why he used drug and alcohol as a crutch, because it gave him the confidence to be the person that he thought was cool. And so now he is starting from scratch. So I imagine he had sex with this girl and was so in his head of like, am I doing this right? Back to when you're having sex, when you're on drugs or alcohol, you're not thinking about all the stuff you worry about as a human being, and especially somebody like Carl. And I was like, oh my God, are we about to get like a sad masturbation scene with Carl? Like, and he's like, he's going to give up halfway through. Like, I just get scared. Like, Carl, do not share this much with us. But at the same time, I appreciate it. So he says, yeah, I didn't perform to my optimal level. And Ciara laughs and Carl laughs. It is kind of cute, actually, even though we're talking about not performing in the bedroom. And Ciara's like, were you nervous? And he's like, yeah, I hadn't been with anyone since Lindsay. And we remember last summer, they barely had sex. So Carl, it was very sexless, it seemed like. She's like, will you see her again? And he's like, maybe. And Ciara says, well, you're switching up. You had a blonde with Lindsay and now you need a brunette. And Carl kind of awkwardly, because, you know, Ciara has darker hair. Carl's like, maybe you need a brunette. And Ciara's like, you're not wrong. And then Ciara goes, well, I've been telling the girls that I am done dating white men. And then Carl is like, oh, well, I guess I'm out then. And he goes, can I be honest? Ciara, can I say something? And I'm like, oh God, no. But yes. And he goes, I mean, you're fucking beautiful. You're beautiful. You're an incredible person. I should let you know I have kind of a crush on you. Woo. And he blows out afterwards. Like, he's been keeping this inside him like a hurricane. He's like, oh. And then he continues. He's like, when you walk in the room, you're drop dead gorgeous inside. You're emotionally intelligent. You have good morals and you care about shit that matters. And the fact that you're a nurse speaks to who you are deep down. I've always thought you're an amazing person. I know I don't have a shot in hell, but do you ever look at me and just be like, Carl, I didn't know. God, I'm telling you guys, this is like a monologue out of a John Hughes film, like a Pretty in Pink kind of film, or like As Good as It Gets, You Make Me Want to Be a Better Man with Jack Nicholson, like I Want My Life to Start Now, Billy Crystal, When Harry Met Sally. There was a charm to this. And maybe it's just because I think a lot of guys, will feel like Carl at some point and just feel like, there's no way. But then there's like a little bit of courage that you have. You're like, maybe, what if? And this was expressed, but I also thought this was like really nice, right? But I was really nervous because that's an awkward place for Ciara to be in. And Ciara's like, well, I mean, at first, sure, but you were engaged to Lindsay. And Carl's like, I knew I fucking blew it. It's kind of good natured. And Ciara says, listen, whatever will be, will be. But I feel like Lindsay and I have so much history. This is the best we've ever gotten along. So, I don't want to be stepping on toes and I don't need to be, I don't want to, it's just not a good thing to explore. And he's like, I agree with you, but it makes me sad regardless of whatever. I love having you around, and he goes, maybe you need to date a little bit and then you'll see how great I am. And then he goes, I'm such a loser. Dude, I'm so Carl at times. He like stands up for himself and then he goes, I'm such a loser. I just confessed to my love for you and fuck my life, he says. And Ciara says, I appreciate this. And by the way, Ciara was on Watch What Happens Live and pointed out the fact of like, yeah, I love hearing amazing things about myself. Like this was actually pretty great. I love hearing good things about myself. And Carl's like, well, maybe I got unleaded fuel for you. And I'm like, oh, you're going to fill up Ciara's love tank? But there is an element of Carl being potentially correct in the fact that a couple years down the road, you don't know. Like, I don't feel like Ciara's going to attract the best men, and I don't think she has the best picker yet either. I think Ciara has benefited a lot from men being horrible to her, but it's almost kind of strengthened her in a way that has made her more interesting than when she started out on this show. And I don't mean that as a slam, because I think we are a product of the people and the situations in our lives, right? But I think she had, like, what's made her interesting is how she has handled these doofuses. Now, Carl, like, listen, do I think Carl has a shot in hell? No, but you never know. You just never know with life. So Carl admittedly says, I know that I don't have a chance in hell, but at least I put it out there. And maybe she'll slow burn and come around. If you just look back at the last year, I 100% lost a lot of confidence, he says. And finally, after facing some uncomfortable things, I'm feeling really confident again. Now I can put myself out there more, one little step at a time. Maybe he will be performing sexually at full capacity by the end of summer. Who knows? Anyways, they stand up and Ciara's like, give me a hug. Oh, she's like, you're so sweet. And she's like, I'm going to go this way. He's like, well, I'm going to go the opposite way. And he goes, I'm going to look at you. I'm going to look at you while you leave, which is, I know he was trying to be cute in the moment, but it's not like, I'm going to look at you when you leave. And then he's like, yeah, just joking. And we see 4 boxes pop up, bloop, 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 bloop. Inside, Tom Schwartz in the Angel Wings is doing a shot with Kyle Cooke and Lexi. And then outside, Wes Wilson's friends are talking to him in his little, candlestick outfit. And she's like, I want to say something to you, Wes. I want to say something to you. She's like, 'twas the night before Christmas. And Wes is like, oh, all through the house. Not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. And then we see Jesse in a box, and Jesse is just kind of pouting. He's like, whatever. I'm bummed. And he's with Paige, Amanda, and Lindsay. And Amanda's like, Jesse, how are you doing? Have you been drinking your feelings away with our new turbo lover boy? And Jesse's like, I'm drinking a normal amount at a party that I'm expecting to have fun at. And Amanda's like, what's wrong? And he's like, And she's like, what's going on, Jesse Solomon? I feel like my friends are taking like the worst of anything that I say and saying that directly to Lexi. And it's like shifting the energy of every conversation. I feel like my friends are taking exactly what I say and then telling Lexi. Amanda goes, oh, you're upset with us. And Paige goes, oh, yeah. Here's what I will say. You can't come vent to us and then be like, I don't want any of you involved. If you say it, it's a thing. Like, we didn't say it. You said it. And Amanda's like, yeah, it's not on us. It's your words. And he's like, oh, I feel like I'm putting my best foot forward. Bro, do not talk about feet after the toe sucking incident. And he goes, I'm putting my best foot forward in my relationship with her. You are not ready to put any foot towards anything. He goes, I'm not being overly flirtatious. And then things are getting brought up from like weeks ago. And Ciara walks in at this point, and Paige is like, let's just call a spade a spade. If Lexi was here that weekend, you would have gotten your other ball chopped off, she says. If I was your girlfriend, I would have fucking killed you. And Jesse's like, what? I wasn't being touchy with anyone. And Ciara like looks is like, what the fuck did you say? And then we get a troll cut of Jesse falling all over Ciara in the pool float. And he's like, just like on her. It is so obvious. And then a video of them dancing and Amanda and Paige talking about how they were all flirty the whole season. And Paige is like, you can cut the sexual tension with a knife. And then Jesse massaging Ciara's toes. And Paige goes, if I was trying to date you, Jesse, and I watched that, I would have fucking killed you. And Jesse's like, what was I doing specifically that was inappropriate when Lexi was not here? And Lindsay's like immediately like, I'll take that one, saying that if you met Ciara first last summer before West, then it might have been a different story. And Jesse's kind of smiling like, oh, I kind of recall saying that. And Paige is like, you put yourself in that pickle. Do not bring up pickles. It's too phallic. And Jesse goes, that was like a joke. This is where I think all people on Bravo have missed the mark. I think people do not know what a joke actually means. Like, this isn't even good prop comedy. There's no joke here. I don't know what comedian is Jesse Solomon watching that's like, being overly sexual with every female is super funny. I mean, like maybe like old school Andrew Dice Clay. I don't know. But he was like, like me trying to make out with Ciara, like that makes Ciara feel better about things. So now Ciara's like, wait, why did I just take shrapnel? Wait, what did you say? And just goes, it was a joke. And they're all like, oh my God, Ciara, what? And Ciara's like, wait, make me feel better about what? And he goes, no, we were just trying to clear the air about you and West. And Ciara's like, so you think that you making me feel better is like you giving me some pity, like, oh, if I was here first, oh, you stepped in it. And Paige is like, you stepped in it now, Jesse Solomon. And Jesse's like, I thought it was such a good conversation. And Ciara's like, what? And then she goes, no, you're a fucking weirdo, Jesse, for that statement, dude. You're a fucking weirdo. Yes, Ciara, wake up and see the light. Smell the roses. And Jesse Solomon smells like shit. And then Ciara's like, fuck you, actually. And walks off. And Lindsay and Paige and Amanda are like, zoinks. And Jesse's like, oh, this terrible, no good, rotten day. And he's like, wait, Ciara, come back. And Ciara's like, no, fuck you, Jesse. And he goes, oh, we cut to commercial. Woo! Finally, Jesse is getting pummeled. We pick back up where he's like, come on, come back. No, fuck you, Jesse. And Lindsay goes, wow, you've graduated from shut the fuck up to fuck you. So there's that. And Jesse goes, is that an improvement? And Lindsay goes, I don't think so. And Jesse's like, now he's gotten his wish. He can be fully man pouty for the rest of the evening, right? We see the other 4 boxes plop up. The DJ's like, let's make some noise right now. I said, if you're ready to party, let's make some noise. And then we start like, this is a little new. Like, we always film the parties, but the camera usually is from a little farther back. And now the camera is like in the dance scenes. It's very, if you watch Love Island, the UK version and now the America version, they would do these extended dance sequences that almost look like music videos. And it reminds me of very Love Island right here. Like, you see people dancing, you see the angles very low instead of far away. It's like in the dance, but it's something new. Like, even Wes is like, has this little candlestick. People are doing like coordinated dances. West has his candlestick out. It's actually very cute. Vibes. It's just vibes, folks. We're vibing here together. The summer house is firing on all cylinders. Everybody's doing what they do best. Kyle is peeing against a wall. Dancing is happening. Now Lexi and Gabby and Schwartz and Lindsay go into the kitchen to do another shot. And Lexi's like, Schwartz, can I ask you from a boy's perspective, how is the most polite way to lock somebody out of your room? And Schwartz is like, you don't mean me, do you? No, she's obviously meaning Jesse. Yeah, you got to fucking put a chair against that door. And Schwartz is like, that's a loaded question, Lexi. But they're all laughing, having a good time. Like, I love that Lexi, like, Jesse's pouting. Lexi's fine. Like, I love that, right? And then Amanda and Ciara, they go over into the huge oversized bed that they built outside. And Paige, this is the only time I've ever seen Paige run, is to get into bed. And Paige is like, we brought our dreams into reality. We're still at the party, but we're in bed. And you know what? Everything is coming up Paige DeSorbo. Everything she manifests actually happens. We see Wes Wilson doing the limbo with his candlestick. And they talk about this being the only party that they would throw. And Paige is like, I'm not interested in the other party themes. And Amanda's like, Carl wanted to have a baggy clothes party because he's into baggy pants. And Paige is like, put a sock in it, baggy pants. And then Ciara's like, wait, and also, speaking of Carl admitted that he had a crush on me. And Paige is like, what? And they're like, oh my God, what the fuck? And Amanda's like, when? He's like, tonight. And Paige is like, I am dead. And Ciara's like, and also said like, you know, what if he said that? Like, would we? And then we intercut with Carl awkwardly dancing on the dance floor, but looking happy while doing it, which is really what counts, right? Amanda's like, well, what did you say to this? And Ciara's like, well, I said, you know, what's meant to be will be. If we're meant to come back to each other, we will. And Paige is laughing the entire time. It's like, she's like, that was so nice for you to say. So nice. But Ciara goes, but no, here's the thing. I really love Carl, and I've loved having a friendship with him this summer. But but Ciara's like, I might as well jump off the bridge if I'm going to date someone else in this house. I agree with you, Ciara, and I'm going to hold you to that, because if I ever see you bumping uglies with Jesse Solomon, I am going to throw a fit. Amanda goes, I think he might be confusing your kindness and friendship for like something more. Like, you're one of the few people that have really stood by him and have cared about him. And, that's what I need in like a significant other. And he's confusing friendship for more than that because he's not able to find that right now. So Amanda nailing it, right? But Amanda goes, I think he's going to value you as a friend forever. And Ciara's like, yeah, I just don't think. And Amanda's like, and you're beautiful, so I think he's just confused. Yeah, I mean, I think that confuses a lot of people. They mistake beauty as like, I'm in love, right? And Paige goes, am I confused if I want to date Ciara? God, wouldn't you? Wait, by the way, all kidding aside, and I know it's, but wouldn't it be great if Paige and Ciara did date? Like if Paige was like, fuck men, and Ciara's like, fuck men, but then they're like, hey, but I found love with you. Let me just have this. Shut up, you guys. Whatever. Amanda's like, oh yeah, it's just me and Kyle from this point out. We cut to Kyle like just guzzling Loverboy Turbo. Amanda says, I feel like Jesse Solomon learned nothing tonight. And Ciara's like, yeah, now that we're in the bed and we can properly debrief about this party while the party's going on, Jesse's being so weird. And Ciara's like, honestly, I'm just like, fuck Jesse Solomon. Like, he said I was just doing that to make you feel better. I'm like, do you think that I need you to pity me? Like, I'm trying to make you feel better about the West situation, he said. And Paige's like, no, that was him trying to get out of something. And then he thought he was saying something nice, but it's like, I don't need someone to make me feel better about a guy over there holding a candle. And we cut to West slow dancing with himself with the candle. Amanda goes, Jesse's embarrassed that he shared his real feelings, and that's the only out he had. Which, by the way, it's once again women explaining away men's doofusness. Like, let Jesse explain his feelings. Like, leave him out to dry a little bit so he can actually see how he feels about a situation, instead of the women like, oh, this is actually what, like, they're all very well smart and thought out, but like, let him do the heavy lifting on this. Anyways, Lindsay's like, okay, me and my unborn child need everybody to leave. We need to get some food and you got to go. Exit the fuck out. She doesn't say that, but Lindsay wants everybody to out. It is great. Love Lindsay in this. It's 11:09 p.m. The party is still kind of going though, even after Lindsay made this announcement. But we're seeing a lot of good night, goodbye. So everybody's leaving, and Schwartz is talking to Kyle, and he's like, "Thank you again for having me. I feel like a whole human being for the first time in a few years. This is nice." And Kyle's like, "You look good." He's like, "Do I really? I feel good." And Kyle's like, "I mean, we did go to the gym in the morning. You made your bed." And Schwartz is like, "Yeah, I made my bed." "You made your bed? You didn't sleep in your bed. You were on the floor. The bed was already made." And Schwartz is like, "You got to get your first win of the day." And Schwartz says, "I'm very fulfilled, but there's a void in my life, Kyle. It's not having kids." And Kyle's like, "Dude, do you ever look at people in their 40s that were kidless and be like, you are a selfish prick?" And Schwartz is like, "Red flag." And Kyle's like, "Right. I mean, look, I'm 40. But by the way, this is kind of bullshit. It's like all of the friends, it's like fucking Jax has kids. All these people have kids. You tell me that's green flags? No." Kyle says, "I'm a couple months older than you, Schwartz. I'm 42, and I would never have thought I would not have kids by now." And Schwartz is like, "Dude, I do want a family eventually, but yeah." And Kyle's like, "Dude, I think we're going to be great dads." This is like two ladies just saying, "Yeah, bitch," to each other. Schwartz is like, "We're going to be the best dads ever." And Kyle's like, "We're just going to be really old." And Schwartz is like, "Dude, wait, by the time they're 20, we're going to be 62, which means I'm going to be sleeping with my daughter's 20-year-old friends." So they're just joking about being old dads, which is cute. It's harmless, right? And by the way, I think they probably would both be good dads for the most part, right? Schwartz is like, "We're going to be in bed by 6:30 on a lazy boy when they're older." And then it's just kind of just silence from both of them as they think about what they've made with their lives. So everybody's now getting ready for bed. Paige is already in the bed. She's looking at videos of her cat, Daphne. Amanda comes in. Wouldn't it be great if she's like, "Where's Ciara?" It's like taking a dump. Paige tells Amanda, "I just ordered McDonald's and I used your husband's card." And then cut to all the McDonald's out on the front. And Kyle's like, "I can't believe they used my card." This Paige, man. Paige is like the richest one. She's the breadwinner. It should be McDonald's on Paige. She didn't even come to Friday's shoot day. Anyways, Lexi's in her bedroom, and I think she's calling her sister, and the sister's like, "What's going on?" She's like, "Hey, so basically today, everybody was like, oh yeah, Jesse's been saying this. There's yellow flags about you. He's basically talking shit behind my back. And so I'm so fucking pissed, especially because he told me he's in love with me. Literally this morning, he's saying he fucking loves me." And we cut to Jesse enjoying McDonald's on the couch. "You don't get to enjoy McDonald's on the house, bub." And the sister's like, "Dude, he's fucking shit. Bullshit." They're all asking "Where's Lexi? Where's Lexi?" Lexi's on the phone with her sister. And Gabby goes to check on her. It's like, "Are you okay?" And Lexi's starting to tear up on the phone. And Gabby's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And she's like, "Bye, I love you." And Gabby's like, "What's wrong, Lexi?" And she's like, "I'm just so annoyed." And they're like, "Jesse?" "Of course, Jesse." But Gabby's like, "Oh my God, Lexi, don't cry over this, man." Cut to Jesse just shoving fries in his gullet. His greedy gullet. So now Lindsay comes into the room, and Lexi's just like, "It's just a shitty situation because he's just been painting me out to be a certain way with all of these people, and I didn't know. And he's made everyone be a little more hesitant with me, to support me and be my friend. And because he's making me look psycho. He is." But Lindsay goes, "I don't think that's the case." And then all of a sudden, Lindsay's baby starts kicking, saved by the baby. And actually, Lexi and Gabby all of a sudden are like, "Oh my God." And they start feeling Lindsay's tummy. And they're all screaming and laughing. It's a very cute moment, actually. That's wild. And Lindsay's like, "Yeah, the baby's like, stop crying." And Lexi's like, "I love you, baby. I love you. I love you." See, a baby kicking solves everything, you guys. No toe sucking, just baby kicking. Anyways, Kyle is shirtless, blouseless, and he's making funny faces to Ciara. Just basic shit. But everybody's like, "We need to go to bed." So, in the cutest moment of the episode, I'll say I even bought into this, is that the guys end up in a cuddle puddle watching Zootopia on a laptop outside on the bed trampoline, right? And they're all just cuddled up. And this is why I think women really get swayed by men, because for as much damage as we can do, we also have these really beautiful moments where they're like, oh, they were little boys once. Oh, it's so cute. Look at them. And by the way, yeah, Zootopia, and Wes is like, oh, look at the giraffe one just going to work being tall. And you're like, hell yeah. I think maybe they were watching Pootopia, though, a scat film, and it wasn't Zootopia. It was like just a hardcore porn. No, it was Zootopia. And this is where you kind of love the guys. And there's no girls there for them to like break their hearts. And Carl's out there. It's very sweet, right? And they're like, oh, that's Carl going to work, the giraffe, because Carl's so tall. Upstairs, Paige is watching earwax extraction videos, which I get. Like on TikTok, I get a lot of like pimple popping on TikTok, which in fact, the fact that I said that out loud means I'm going to get it more because your phone listens to everything that you're saying. Anyways, some of the guys are starting to leave the Zootopia cuddle puddle. And they're like, hang in there, Jesse, hang in there, brother. And it winds up that West is the only person that actually, he's like, Wes is like, I'm going to sleep out here to Schwartz. And Schwartz is like, I want to go inside on my made bed and sleep on the floor again, potentially. And there's like a lot of love you, bros, love you. And, it seems like this was like a really nice thing. And so Wes does fall asleep on the outside bed trampoline. So Wes is out there by himself. He passes out. It's like 2:10 p.m. And then all of a sudden we see it's 3:10 p.m. and it starts raining, like raining. But Wes doesn't wake up outside until like 4:10 a.m. He sleeps for like over an hour, just getting pelted by rain. Imagine sleeping that soundly where rain doesn't even wake you up. And he's like, oh, Jesus. And then he like stumbles inside. I hope his laptop was okay. That's what I was worried about completely. It is the next day at the summer house, and summer house does something they've never done before, and they do 6 boxes. Blink, 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 blink. So we see 6 different camera angles. Usually, I think the most I've seen on Summer House is 4, so the technology is just off the charts. Schwartz is talking to himself in the bedroom. He's like, I love the Hamptons. It's so bougie and fabulous, but it's time to go home. I have business to attend to, and I miss my dogs. So everybody is slowly getting up. Amanda Batula is in the sloth mask, and Kyle wakes up to Amanda. What if he tried to sleep with Amanda in the sloth mask? Like new eroticism unlocked. Carl wakes up, just being Carl. Paige wakes up to Ciara, says, I want to go home. Everybody feels gross. Kyle says, I feel gross, but he's going to go make some toast like a man. So it's Sunday around 11 a.m. Everybody's kind of moseying up, but the girls are still being bedbugs in the bedbug room. And Schwartz is like, hey, girls, I just wanted to say I'm going to be leaving soon, but thank you for allowing me into your little happy world. And then he points, he's like, you've got to cherish this. Cherish this. And they're like, what? Like, Paige is like, I'm trying to sleep. Cherish this. I used to have a happy family in LA, and now everyone hates each other. We all hate each other. And Paige is laughing. I mean, it's so true. And so Schwartz is like, you've got to cherish this, okay? Like, that is the thing, is that like those moments we've got to hold on to in life, whether it be with family or groups of friends, before you horribly stab each other in the back on cheating each other. There are these beautiful moments of camaraderie. And Schwartz is like, it's very sacred. And Paige is like, we're going to love each other forever, no matter what. And Schwartz is like, that's what I used to say. Now we're in complete disarray. And Paige is like, as long as Amanda doesn't cheat on Kyle, I think we can get through anything, Yeah, I like we're totally used to Kyle potentially cheating, but Amanda, that would really throw off the balance of things. Anyways, we're in the kitchen. Jesse's gonna reluctantly, sadly cook bacon and eggs for everybody. And Amanda's like, you're just a lost soul right now, Jesse. And Jesse's like, so bad. Does anybody know why Ciara's so mad at me? Not even worried about Lexi. Does anybody know why Ciara's so mad at me? Was it that thing I said last night that anybody would have been offended by? And he's like, besides making one offhand joke of like, and Amanda's like, because your coping mechanisms of jokes and serious conversation doesn't help any situation. Dude, I know Amanda might not want to be a mom, but she would be an excellent mother. And he's like, yeah, well, I mean, it just is our friendship this week that one offhand joke is gonna, like, I love it. Already blaming, I guess our friendship isn't that strong if I can't make my stupid ass jokes. And Amanda's like, well, I think it just wasn't the right time for jokes. And then Lexi comes into the kitchen and it's already, you just feel it. I can feel the tension right now. Ah! He's like, good morning. And Lexi's like, hey. And she kind of like dodges by Jesse. And Jesse's like, I get. Lexi hugs Lindsay, but totally dodges Jesse. And I'm so proud of her in this moment. And Lexi's just standing in the kitchen texting. And Jesse's like, how'd you sleep, Lex? And she doesn't answer. And then she finally goes, lovely. Still typing on her phone. And Amanda's like, did you eat last night, Lexi? And she's like, no. And they're just talking about their stomachs killing them. And Lexi goes, no, I didn't eat. I was crying. Woo! And Amanda's like, I got to get out. I got to get out of here. And Jesse's like, Lexi, do you have any sort of special order? Yeah, pigs and blankets, you freak. That would make you happier than like bacon and eggs. So Jesse is now willing to be like chef du jour. We're like, is there anything that could make is there a BLT I could make you? And he's now trying to do that smiling. He's like, I'm charming Jesse. And Lexi's like, you to stop talking shit about me. That's my special order. And Lindsay's like, I'd like eggs and a side of stop talking shit. And then Lindsay laughs to herself. And Lindsay goes, yeah, okay. And Lexi's like, yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. And Jesse goes, I still don't feel like I was talking shit. I just feel like, and Lexi goes, I think that during breakfast, we should all sit down together and we should ask. And Jesse's like, well, you want to talk about it all right now? And Lexi goes, no, I'd like to talk about it in front of everyone. Hell yeah, Lexi. Lexi's like, yeah, I want to see what everybody thinks. Yeah, because Jesse, you made it the house's business. And Jesse's like, well, I'm happy to talk about it with everyone. It just feels like a little extra, just women being extra. And Lexi's like, yeah, no, because I'm the only one that's getting hurt from everything. Like all of the drama that I've had this summer in the 3 days that I've known you is literally because of you. Back to Schwartz. Schwartz is like, you guys look so cozy, but you missed out last night. I don't want to rub it in, but we were all farting on the trampoline watching Zootopia together. You missed out. We had a cuddle puddle. Yeah, it was amazing. Now, Amanda walks into the cuddle puddle in the bedroom, and Amanda's like, guys, I had to get out of the kitchen. It was me, Lexi, Jesse, and I escaped. And Schwartz is like, Jesse came to us last night defeated. And Ciara's like, he should be defeated. And he's like, I think it's over. I feel like in 2 days, I saw like a year's worth of relationship transpire. And Ciara's like, imagine what we've been through. And Paige is like, imagine how tired we are. And Schwartz is like, I see it. And then Schwartz is like, yeah, I think I learned enough. But they're all laughing. He goes, all right, I'm out. And they're all like, love you, Schwartz. Love you. And the bedbugs are just in there drinking their beverages. We go back downstairs. Schwartz says the bacon smells great. Gabby's up. Lexi's still standing by Jesse for some reason. Just get away. And Lindsay's like, hey, Gabby, welcome to group therapy. We're going to have it over breakfast. And Gabby's like, count me in. Wes comes down. He's like, morning, everybody. Lindsay goes, I think you guys have a lot of love for each other. I really do. And Lexi's like, what shit are you talking, Lindsay? Lindsay goes, I think that Lexi's point was just that you shared your concerns with everyone but her. You also shared your toes with everyone but her, and it made her feel like a fool. And Gabby's like, her whole point is that the yellow flags that you are talking about with her are not really that real. And Lexi turns to Carl, and Lexi's like, sit and watch if you guys want. There's popcorn over there. And Gabby's like, yeah, when she's being considerate and doing these things without even vocalizing them to you. And Jesse's just like, he's not hearing it. And Gabby goes, don't shut down, Jesse. Because you're shutting down. He's like, no, I'm listening. I'm understanding. I'm just not going to continue to fight it. Gabby's like, we're not fighting it though. We're not fighting you. This is not an argument. And Lexi's like, he thinks everything is an argument. And Gabby's like, no one is yelling. It's a conversation. Lindsay goes, words of affirmation, Jesse. Just say, I understand. And Jesse's like, I understand. And Lexi actually doesn't understand. And that's why I don't want to date him. Woohoo! The piper has come to collect his due. And Gabby goes, yeah, I don't think you want to date him either. Now Kyle walks into the kitchen and Gabby's like, to be fair, I don't think you get it, Jesse. Kyle's like, morning, how's everybody doing today? Can you guys put Loverboy cans in your hands? And everybody's like, well, we've been better. And then Wes is like, can I ask something? Can I ask what the conflict is? And Kyle looks like he's just woken up. He looks so beat. And Lexi goes, he's talking all this stuff behind my back that has made everyone in the house think that I'm crazy, and then says the opposite to me, that I can't trust anyone in the house. And everybody is shit stirring. And he's getting mad at me. Last weekend, I was apparently flirting with you, Wes, in the club. And Wes is like, oh shit, how did I get in this? And Jessica goes, that's not true. We should have had a fucking troll editor move where they have him on audio saying this. Lexi goes, it is true. And Jessica goes, I was trying to say that my behavior the weekend you were gone, besides the toe sucking, which was clearly out of line, was not as flirtatious as you were being with, for example, West. What the fuck? The fuck? Wes is like, has that look of make me a bird so I can fly far, far away. And Lexi's like, what the fuck is that, Jesse? What are you talking about? Wes in a talking head goes, I don't fucking remember any of that. Like, we probably fucking talked or like hugged, like an arm thing. But I know for a fact my relationship with Lexi is clearly platonic. So don't bring me into it, fuckface. This is where your boy threw you under the bus, Wes. Jesse goes, I trust you, Lexi. I trust West. Like, that was not how I was trying to say it. And Lexi goes, and if anybody even asks me, oh, why aren't you and Jesse boyfriend and girlfriend yet? I'm like, oh, you know, like we just have to learn more about each other. No, about how you have fat ass red flags, Jesse, and I don't want to be your girlfriend yet. And Wes is like, but you still are exclusive though, no? And Lexi goes, I don't want to be exclusive. Take the exclusive and shove it out the fucking window. I'm done. Done. Proud of this girl. Proud of Lexi. And then Kyle, you are a producer almost on this show, I think. And the fact that Kyle stops this conversation. Kyle's like, look, it's a Sunday. It's the Lord's Day. And you guys have had some tough combos. But like, you guys need to have a chat, and maybe it's like not. And Lexi says, no, I think every single other person should be involved in the chat. Because he's talking shit to everybody but me. And then fucking Kyle goes, let's pipe down a little. And Gabby's like, no one's yelling, Kyle. I'm just saying, let's just clean up. Like, what, Kyle? This is fucking game time. This is a reality television show, and you are telling people to pipe down? Think about how angry you would have been of all the times that you cried and yelled on the show if somebody told you to pipe down. Anyways, Lexi's like, I feel insane, and walks away. And Carl's like, that's how this house can be sometimes, Lexi. I think we've all felt like this at some point. Also, I tried to hit on Ciara last night, and it didn't go well. But the fact that Kyle stopped what would have been an excellent conversation, I don't know what, I mean, like, Kyle, did you really have a DJ gig that night? What was going on that everybody needed to hit the road? No, we need to finish this. Anyways, now everybody is leaving because Kyle ruined that amazing conversation. Wes and Jesse are packing up their room, and Wes is like, are you okay, man? Are you okay? He's like, no. And it's like, and Wes is like, do you agree with what she's saying? And he's like, no. Clearly all these flags that I was seeing, like, were for a reason. Like, we were not like each other's person, I guess. The rantings of an insane man. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Now he's like, clearly, like, obviously I was proven to be right. Like, dude, she nailed your ass. This is exactly what you were doing. And you should take a hard look at yourself in this situation so you don't repeat it. Jesse goes, I mean, the way she's acting, Wes, is not like... And Wes is like, oh, so you're like out. Dude, she was out first. You can't be out already on somebody that's out on you. Wes is like, Jesus Christ. And Jesse's like, she legitimately thinks that I have tried to create a wedge between her and the house. And that's not true. And Wes is like, she just takes it as shit talking. And Jesse's like, I should have just only been talking to you about shit, I guess, Wes. Because literally, like, she's making me look bad. She's disparaging the Jesse Solomon name. I'm trying to have a music career. And, like, making me seem like I'm two-faced and like a bad person. Wes goes, dude, I wish I could sit here and be like, go fight it and like tell your story. Tell your story, Jesse Solomon. But it's the easiest thing to do is just say sorry and just keep your head down. So now Wes is like talking about his sit with the biggest advice I could give is like talk to the New York Times potentially. But Jesse's like, no, dude, I know how you feel. You're just like, this is not worth doing. Just two men encouraging each other to continue to be stupid. Jesse's like, that was like kind of my thought process last summer. Like I was like, don't date someone in the house. But like when you just have that magnetic energy with someone, when you force that magnetic energy on somebody, you got to pursue it. And Wes is like, well, if that's how you feel, don't give up, bro. And just like, if she wanted to make it work, like I would be open to it. But like, dude, choose a lane. It's like becoming more of a negative and a stressor than the positive. And like, it's outweighing. And I'm just kind of at a loss. And Wes is like, Wes looks like a coach on the football game. He's like, I don't know, man. I'm just, yeah. And he goes, I love you, buddy. He turns around and hugs him. Come here. Give me a hug. Get into my bosom right here. Come on. And Wes is like, yeah, good old breakup after 5 weeks. Crazy, huh? So everybody's packing. The girls just like, once again, the fucking security deposit on this summer house. They're just like Ciara's just dragging her suitcase down these stairs. Somebody's tied a string on Ciara's bed. Jesse's like, does any ladies need help with their bags or anything? I'm trying to be a good guy. Okay, so now we're back in the city. It's Monday, August 19th, 11:20 a.m. So mark that in your calendars. You're going to need that information later. I'm joking. You're not going to need that information at all. And we show up to one of Lindsay's doctor's appointments, and Danielle comes in. Danielle's back. Danielle appearing maybe more than Gabby this season, even though she is not on the cast list at all. But we have our two old friends at Lindsay's doctor appointment, which is exciting. Danielle jokes like, oh yeah, this time last year you were, kind of left at the altar. But imagine if you get married next time, you're actually going to have probably a normal flower girl. Because remember, Kyle wasn't one of the best men. He was asked to be the flower girl. And also they show a flashback to Kyle with that mullet. The fact that Kyle got away with that mullet for as many years as he did, Amanda's a saint. And this dude looks so much better without the mullet. Like the fact that he convinced himself to keep that mullet for so long when he is so handsome without the mullet. Anyways, we go in there with the ultrasound, we see the baby's eyes and the heart, and we get to hear the heart. And it's really this kind of, it does kind of take your breath away a little bit. This is life. It's really insane. And watching Lindsay watch this, I don't know, it's wouldn't it be great if the baby in the ultrasound was like, sandwich, how many sandwiches have you made for me? Lindsay in a talking head says, I love seeing her and hanging out with her and hearing her heartbeat, And she's like tearing up. She's like, I'm a fucking mess. It's just nice, she says. I love my OB appointments. I'm going to start doing OB appointments. It seems like a good time. Anyways, we get the little ultrasound picture. By the way, this would be great in my reality show museum too, if I could get some Lindsay ultrasound pictures. Anyways, Lindsay says, Doc, a lot of people have been asking, are you doing a vaginal birth or a C-section? Yeah, mainly this perv Jesse Solomon. And Lindsay goes, I keep saying vaginal, as natural as possible. And Danielle goes, is there a weight or a size of the baby where you know what degree tear she's about to get? And the doctor's like, no, we can never predict this. Everybody's different. And Lindsay's like, are there exercises I should be doing so I don't tear my asshole? And the lady's like, well, you could do prenatal massage where you basically, this is the vagina and you take some gel and then you massage these muscles right here. Oh my God. And the lady's like, but the problem is nobody knows what they're doing. And Lindsay's like, yeah, it sounds a lot like finger banging. And we flash back to Amanda going, hey, I heard Carl finger banged you and you guys didn't even make out. And Lindsay's like, exactly what happened. And then another scene where Kyle's telling Amanda, I forgot how many times they used to say finger bang in Summer House. So like, oh my God, the good old days, finger bang. I love that word, those words. It's like poetry. Anyways, they're like, you want me to finger my baby? And Daniel's like, do you have a pamphlet on how to do this I could send to her? It's actually a funny scene. I just am dirty. Wednesday, August 21st, 1:13 p.m. We're going all around New York City, but where do we land, folks? We are at a apartment. I think this is Lexi's apartment. I hope she kicked out her mom and her sister for this one and not just made them stay in the other room. Anyways, she's like, hey. And Jess is like, how are you? And she's like, I'm good. How are you? And we see in Lexi's apartment, there's a neon sign that says, this is the sign you've been looking for. Hey-o! So they're awkwardly sitting on the couch. And Jesse's like, I don't like to fight at all. And Lexi goes, I don't either. So I think it really shocked me, Lexi, when you were so angry at me. I just didn't like that you were making me out to be some monster. I was like, whoa. And Lexi goes, in what way? Just that I was like trying to make you look like jealous and crazy, and that I was like being strategic and manipulative. Like that's so, like you were like pointing out the exact things I did and said, and I don't like that. And Lexi goes, well, that's what it seemed like. And just is like, okay. And Lexi goes, you seem upset. He goes, yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to trust me. And I'm not trying to defend all my behavior. It's like, I know that I shouldn't have let anybody suck my toe. That was like messed up. So I am sorry. I guess I am sorry. I should have gone things about a little differently. I didn't realize that what I was doing was messed up. And I mean, like, I like you so much that I don't want to just stop seeing each other based off of actions that I took. Unless because normally in relationships, I don't like really, I'm not really a fighter. I'm just more of like, okay, I'm going to love you and leave you. Because it's exhausting me. Lexi, very grown. Like, this is how to do it, you know? Like, yes, don't give this dude another shot. If I literally watch next week's episode and they're back together, I'm going to scream. Lexi goes, listen, I think we might just not be compatible. I love it. Like, even Lexi last episode was like, yeah, maybe we should just end it. Like, Lexi's like, let's end it. And Jesse's like, not the stuff I wanted to hear. He goes, clearly we have a really great connection, and I just can't tell if it's like something I can change. Well, I mean, Jesse, this is a conversation you should be having between you and the mirror. Lexi says, I think that it's just a choice that we have to make to be like, is it worth trying or is it not? And he's like, oh, grown up. What would Jesse Solomon do? Get his toe sucked and try to stay in a relationship with Lexi, even though I'm not good for her. We cut to commercial. We come back, and this is our last scene of the episode. We have Kyle and Amanda meeting for a daytime lunch date on a rooftop. This is where it kind of like New York looks so cute. And they're, it's like, oh, we don't get to do this a lot. This is amazing. Woo! So we're at this cute little lunch date. Kyle orders a spritz, not a spritz society, a spritz. Amanda in a talking head lets us know that she felt really lost last year. She was struggling professionally and mentally. And the combination of me and Kyle being in just a really good place together and putting myself out there, starting the swim line, and then being on my medication, I just feel like I'm starting to find myself again and really figure out who I am and what I want. And that's very empowering. And by the way, you can see it. Like, listen, I'll have what she's having because she looks amazing. You can tell there's an inner happiness this season. And I love that. I truly want that for her, right? So the food gets delivered and it's bruschetta, whatever. It's nice. I'm a little hungry right now, so it's kind of upsetting to watch. So now we're going to get into the meat of the conversation. And Kyle's like, so I had some blood work done, unbeknownst to you. I mean, Schwartz knew about it, but there was just one thing that was a little concerning. And he was just like, you should take a fertility test because my testes were like working overtime. Yeah, dude, Kyle's testes, Kyle's a hardworking guy, but his testes working all the time. And he's like, your testes are working like basically all the time to pump out semen. And Amanda's like, is it something that we should be worried about? And he's like, it's nothing to do with my fertility. That's what the fertility test is for. I mean, we haven't really talked about like any of this stuff. Like, I don't want to like add more stress or pressure, make you feel even more anxious. But can you imagine if I'm sterile? Kyle, the king of the men? I just couldn't even imagine that. And Amanda's like, is there a chance? He's like, yeah. Sometimes your testes work so hard that they don't work at all. And Amanda's like, well, because it wouldn't be the end of the world, Amanda says. And Kyle's like, whoa, zoinks, what do you mean? She's like, I don't know. Kyle's like, wait a sec. We're talking to my testes right now. And Amanda's like, well, I mean, I'm in like a weird place. Like, because there's some days where I feel like, why am I not pregnant right now? What are we doing? Why are we wasting our time? And then there are other days where I'm like, should I even have kids? Kyle has a big like mouthful of salad right now. And he's like, wait, what? What? Zoinks, zoinks. He's like, how long you been feeling like that? And Amanda's like, I don't know, maybe like a year now. Uh-oh. It's awkward when a couple does not communicate with each other, even though this is probably a little bit of a staged scene. And Amanda goes, I think it's just because of how much I've been struggling and how difficult it's been for me to take care of myself sometimes. It's like, am I not suited to take care of something else? I think this is a normal worrying concern. And Kyle's like, wait, sorry. Let me back up. So for the last year, I thought, and she's like, I go back and forth in my mind. He's like, well, I just thought it was one thing, but you're thinking it's like, sometimes it's an if thing and not a when thing. And Amanda goes, I don't love that I feel that way, but I think I need to make sure I'm okay. Hell yes, Amanda Batula. Kyle's like, I guess I just haven't heard you vocalize it, so I'm just trying to process it. My testes are trying to process it. In a talking head, Kyle's like, we're coming up on 3 years married. My dad turns 81 in August. And we flash back to Kyle and Amanda with Kyle's parents going, one of these days we'll have a little child and his grandma there, who I think has passed away, unfortunately. Kyle's like, time's ticking. And 90% of the blood, sweat, and tears I put into Loverboy was for our future, for kids. In my mind, the only true payoff is if there's something more than what's in my life right now. Kyle, have you considered God? Have you considered the Lord? No. Amanda goes, Kyle, I mean, it's not like you're sitting here itching and eager. It's not like you're asking me every day to have kids. And Kyle's like, no, I know. I just didn't expect you to say that. You've hurt my testes feelings. Next time on Summer House. And we have Lindsay on the beach saying, Ciara said apparently that Carl apparently hooked up with somebody. I don't believe it. I don't believe it for a one goddamn second. In front of Carl, she says this. And then we cut to Jesse into the summer house, and Jesse's wearing sunglasses inside, going, my communication with Lexi was poor. And Ciara goes, oh, so you're not two-faced. And he's like, And Ciara's like, is that the takeaway, Jesse? And then we see a scene with Jesse to Ciara going, it hurts when you call me like a two-faced liar, but I am very sorry. I'm the sad side of Jesse Solomon. And Ciara goes, honestly, I'm over you. I'm just over it. Woo! Jesse learning a tough lesson. But by the way, maybe good that he learns this now so he can take what he learned into this summer and not be the same way. So amazing episode, really fun. I hope you guys are having the best weekend ever. I'm going to be doing a Vanderpump, or not, the Valley after show recap on the Patreon. And yeah, that's it. Patreon.com/so bad it's good. And then Monday, Pop Culture Roundup with Sophie Ross. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for all your support. And yeah, get your testes checked. Bye.